My friends, it is the end of another month, and we have done podcast episodes each week, but I wanted to get some feedback from you. And the way I wanted to get feedback was by doing a Q&A session. So what I did is I went out, I asked on different forms of social media what questions you had. I didn't care if it was about fitness or if it related to something else entirely. I took those questions, I took the 7 from different people that I found that might be the most interesting. I wrote them all down, didn't really think about answers. I'm going to spin a wheel. We're going to figure out kind of which order we go in, and we will answer your questions the best that I'm able. But otherwise, focus in and let's have a chat. Jumbo, my friends. I'm Coach Zoe, or the Coach Zoe you know, and this is What the Foss, a podcast where I focus on answering different questions that have to do with your physicality and mentality in order for you to enjoy the activities that you want with the fittest and most injury-free process possible. Now, Q&A today, I spun randomly here, and just to give you the idea on this wheel, I have 7 questions in total. There's 3 different spots that are actually just say LA, and that's not for Los Angeles. It's actually just for life advice, which is going to be something where I just make up a piece of life advice on the spot. Or if something just comes into my brain, that's the one I'm going to go with. So we're going to spin the wheel real fast, and we're going to figure out where we're going to start. But I have my book right here. And we will go with the first one, which is question number 2. So someone asked me, Coach Zoe, what is a dessert option that helps you curb sweet cravings? I'm having difficulty trying not to go with my sweet tooth, and I'm wanting some help with that. Well, now this is going to be very personal to everybody. One thing before I go into the types of desserts that are like probably a bit healthier for you, right? Or have more nutritional value. Because I don't want to say that there's complete garbage food and there's like complete like superfoods. There's foods that are more nutrient dense, right? They have more nutrients, more vitamins, minerals, things that are going to help you out. And then there are ones that are kind of empty or less nutrient dense, and they won't really help you out as much. And help means more of things like energy, sleep, focus, overall mood, things like that. Now, with desserts, I think sometimes that if you have some dessert that you really crave, as long as you have the self-control to be able to stop at a certain point, you should go with that dessert that you enjoy at first, right? So let's say your big dessert is ice cream, right? A bunch of people love ice cream. If they try to go for some other healthier alternatives at first, it just doesn't fit the bill, and they want just more of that ice cream, and these cravings just keep circling around in their head. Instead of just trying to cut it out and just not think about it and just drink more water or just try to go to sleep earlier, instead of doing that, if you're able to just cut your portion, just let's say by half of whatever you would typically have, start there, and then if you want to, you can kind of see how you feel, cut a little bit more, and that way you're keeping something in there, and it doesn't feel that whatever your new nutrition plan is just completely cutting out all of your favorite things. So when I mean this, I don't mean that you have to have this dessert every single night, and if you usually have a gallon, you have a half gallon of ice cream, right? It means more that, let's say, if we include dessert in there, right? So that would be 4 meals in a day. That means that if there's a week is 7 days, then quick math, it's going to be 28 days. No, not 28 days. Never mind. 28 meals, right? 7 times 4, 28. Now, out of those 28 meals, maybe you just choose like 2 or 3 of those that have that smaller portion of your favorite dessert. And then the other times you can go with something more nutrient dense. But for example, one that kind of curbs my cravings is this combination, which is plain Greek yogurt, a little bit of fruit, some type of fresh or frozen fruit, whatever works for you. Berries would be ideal. A little bit of honey, and then a little bit of some super basic standard like vanilla protein powder or something like that. You mix that in there. Most of the times when I'm craving something that's a lot more sweet, I'm not really craving it anymore. Why? Because that has a nice little balance of your macronutrients, which are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. So when I do it for myself, this doesn't mean it's the same portion for you, but just to give an example, I might do something like a cup of that Greek yogurt. I might do the equivalent of a couple teaspoons up to, a half, 3/4 of a tablespoon. I don't really know. I just kind of eyeball it when it comes to the honey. As far as the fruit goes, I usually go like half a cup of the fruit, and then I go like a scoop of the vanilla protein powder, right? I do that. You just mix it all together, kind of makes this sort of like slurry concoction, and I just eat that with a spoon. And that has helped me a lot of the times to feel satiated, to sleep well, but to also kind of kick that sort of sweet craving in that case. Moving on. Good. Let's see what we have. Perfect. Okay. Question number 1 that was here. Oh, this is a good one. So, Coach Zoe, I want to know if you have an overrated or underrated strength exercise. So, I'm going to take this in the sense that it means something in the gym in that case, or some type of gym exercise. I do have a few different ones, but this time I'm just going to keep it to like one kind of in each, which might be kind of like my most overrated one that I see some people doing or trying to do, and then the most like underrated one that I don't see people doing that often. So if I'm going to go with overrated first, if I had to say that for an overrated one, the first initial one that comes to mind for me is, it's going to be good mornings, they're called, but it would be like barbell good mornings. Now, for some people, they work great. There's a lot of people who might be like Olympic lifters, and they do that to work on certain areas in their back, their hamstrings, a little bit here in their glutes. But I think for the general person, to get in the right form on a good morning exercise where there's barbells up here and you're literally just kind of like hinging in your hip, but the heavy load is right up here on your shoulders. For most people, it's just going to cause more harm than it is actual benefit to this. And when that's the case, when you're in the gym, I don't want you wasting your time on doing a bunch of exercises that are going to do more harm than good most of the time, or that have this big, long learning curve to them. You just need to get in there to be able to get stronger, to then go out and do the activities that you enjoy doing. So barbell good mornings are going to be my overrated one. I sometimes see people trying to do them in the gym. Their back starts to round. When they're doing it, they talk about how they're in pain, and I'm like, well, shocker, But I think with barbell good mornings being the overrated one, I think the underrated exercise, while this one still has a little bit of a learning curve, I'm going to say that the underrated exercise for me personally, if you can get them down the right way, I think underrated in the sense that also people don't use it that often, but it still has its benefits, is going to be a single leg Romanian deadlift, right? When you're doing a single leg exercise, what you get is you get a lot of those balance benefits, which means that you get a lot of benefits around those joints of your hip, knee, and ankle. So that helps you out in a lot of different ways of just being able to move through your life safely. But with a single leg RDL, it takes a lot of different muscles turning on to stay in control in order for you to be able to keep the right form on the exercise. And you have this weight that's kind of in one hand, and that same leg of the weight that's in that hand, that leg's kicking back. If you just look up single leg Romanian deadlift, you'll find that exercise. Again, it's just about keeping your whole body flat. You got to engage your core muscles, your muscles around your abs, also your hips. You have to be in control when you're doing that stretch, keeping a nice strong back. And it really just kind of fires up your legs if you get the right amount of repetitions for volume, or if you get the right amount of weight for your load overall. Okay. Fourth question. Okay. Coach Zoe, I see that you are not a aesthetics or bodybuilding type trainer. So therefore, what are your goals for your clients? Good question. I like it. When you are training with me, most of the people who are my ideal clients would be somebody who happens to have an activity that they're training for, or some type of physical activity or solo sport that they enjoy going out to do. Now, they don't have to be super competitive in it, but it could just be something like they like to go mountain biking, or they like to go hiking, or they like to run. Whatever that sport or activity is, my goal as Coach Zoe for Foss Movement is to make sure that you are feeling as strong as you can and feeling as injury free as you can in order to go out and do that activity that you love. So my goal for most of my clients is to try to make sure that they can go and do that activity that they love as much as they want, and that I give them the right amount of strength training and mobility work and balance work to do in the gym or at home in order for them to work at their best when they are actually out and about. And that's just a big goal for me, because I don't want to be working out just because my doctor told me I have to. And I don't think most people want to do that either. I think sometimes when we're in high school or middle school or sometimes college, there's a lot of these like sports clubs and activities that seem to offer ways to be active. But once you get out of that and you get into kind of the working life, and your hobbies are just kind of sitting at home or sitting outside or sitting at somebody else's home or sitting in your car, there needs to be something more that encourages you to go out and do activity besides just because your doctor told you that you need to work out. So that's the goal for my clients, is that I just want to make sure that they can get stronger to do their activity that they love. If that means competitively, right? That would mean that we're trying to get them faster times or to place better in a race or an event. But it also means if they're just doing it because they enjoy doing it, that my goal for them is that they find that their balance is better, their strength is better, they're not in as much pain after they do their activity, they're recovering better. Things like that. Those are the main goals I have for them. Next question. Okay, the second one already did that. So, click, going over. Okay. This question here. Okay. So this one's a fun one. So, Coach Zoe, what are 3 sports or active hobbies that you think that I should try? Now, whoever sent me this, they basically just said that. They didn't, excuse me, itchy nose. They didn't give me any follow-up. And I am just going to go off their question alone. Now, for 3 sports or activities, I'm going to kind of give you 3 different ones. And you might be listening and be like, well, duh, don't give me the same ones. Yeah, I got you. Okay? Bad. I mean that I'm going to give you ones kind of in 3 different categories. Like, I'm going to give you one that's, like a little more intense, one that's a little bit more like relaxing. These 2 are going to be more solo sports, and then one that you should try with like a club or a little bit more of like a team sport type of activity. So let's see. If I was going to give you one, my first one would probably be to try rock climbing. I haven't tried rock climbing in quite a while, but I personally believe that a lot of fitness is about controlling your own body, right? People can go in the gym, they can shove around weights. I've been there. I've trained for different kind of high impact sports where being heavier and lifting heavier weight is what matters. And I've been a little bit more on that side of things. And after doing that, you realize more and more how just being able to control your own body and your own body weight and being able to move more comfortably, like in your own skin, that's what matters most, at least to me. So with rock climbing, that's one thing that I've thought about, getting back into. And if I hadn't tried it that much or haven't tried any sport or hobby, I think that's an easy level of entry, right? Where all you need is you can just go into a rock climbing gym. You can rent the shoes there. You don't even have to buy the shoes. But if you want to buy the shoes, that's really the only thing you need to buy. Maybe like a small like chalk bag sort of thing. And you just go in there, and they might have some things on the wall. They'll have like different tape spots that are certain like routes you can try to like climb across the wall. Or you can just go in there and just kind of climb however you want to. It really just kind of takes you back in a sense to just like being on a playground when you're a kid and just climbing around just because you feel like it. And it gives you just a little bit of challenge, but you can control that challenge at your own pace. The second one that I would give is something that is like a martial art. And I'm going to give I'm going to leave kind of vague, but I've tried different ones. I tried for a day of doing a lot of like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Like I attended something like that just to get that feel and experience for it, and got thrown in the deep end on that. And talk about a different level of fatigue. And it just really kind of humbles you and makes you realize that there's a lot of different technique when it goes into different forms of martial arts. And I think that's one that sometimes people don't think about. Now, you don't have to go and like go into competition and like fight everybody, because I'm running on like 3 concussions here. So like me going into like, like, I don't know, boxing or something like that and getting hit in the dome, probably not going to be the best choice for me, right? But as a kind of fitness thing, is something to sweat out, as to work out with other people, if it's something like kickboxing or boxing, I think that could be a great choice. And I think that could be something where people could just, like release some, I don't want to say it's like an anger release thing, right? But you're going to be able to go in there and you're going to gain some good ideas about self-control, some different things of techniques. I think just overall, it's a good one. Third one, if I had to say a kind of club sport, in this case, club sport that has kind of a low barrier to entry. Let's see, you don't have to have a lot of experience. Why did the first thing I thought in my mind that it would be croquet, right? I mean, to be real, I actually enjoy croquet a lot. I'm not rich by any means. I don't hold a bunch of like champagne in my hand, and I'm not wearing a bunch of polo shirts or anything, but I mean, that's one that's pretty fun. There's not a lot of clubs for that. There should be some more. That should just be more relaxed, kind of fun croquet clubs. But if it's not that as a club sport, I think that you should personally try to go and you should go and try to just do like a hiking club. And I say that for a hiking club because I think a lot of the times there's people who would want to go and check out something outdoors, but maybe they don't have the ability to, or they don't want to go by themselves, or they just don't know when to go. And you want something that there's a little bit of social stuff, you still get a little bit of exercise out of it, but you also get to kind of be outdoors, and that's really refreshing for somebody mentally. And there are places that are hiking clubs. They do super easy paces. They don't go out for like days on end. They might just like go and do a hiking thing where you go with a group and you go see a great view and you come back and you get a lot of fulfillment out of that. So those are the 3 that come to my mind right off. Would be rock climbing. I almost said croquet again. Rock climbing. Come on, brain, do some stuff. Come on, brain, do some stuff. Hiking club. And a form of martial arts. Next question. Perfect. Number 6. Okay. Coach Zoe, plain and simple, what is your favorite junk dessert? Okay. So, I'm a fitness and wellness coach, okay? I don't eat junk desserts. The only thing that I eat is I eat 2 slices of papaya on my 14-grain bread, and I might put the tiniest drop of honey on there. In all actuality, it's a just fat, thick, great American cookie cake. I know that some people, they say, oh, the icing's disgusting, or oh, that's too much cookie. You shut up, okay? This isn't for you. This is for me. That is my junk food of choice. It is this large cookie cake. I enjoy a really good like chocolate chip cookie. Now, is it the most like tasty homemade chocolate chip cookie recipe? No, maybe not. But Is it just completely delicious and I could eat slices of it? Yes, absolutely. So that is my one, plain and simple. It's a giant cookie cake from Great American Cookie. I might have that like once a year, that at most. But when I do, oh man, like, do I hate myself after? Yeah, a little bit. But do I enjoy it in the moment? Absolutely. Don't land on the same one again. Okay, did that one. So I'm gonna go over to. Nope, did that one. 3. Okay, perfect. So this one is what are your favorite exercises for runners, or exercises that runners should do? Okay, good one. So I have a few clients who are runners, right? A few of the exercises. Now I'm gonna say these are less like physical therapy type exercises, or less just like warm up exercises like before you run. I'm gonna go with just gym exercises, because at the end of the day, I am a fitness like gym strength coach, right? And your personal trainer. If I had to give a couple of my favorite exercises for runners, the first one right off, no question, would be a form of controlled like box or bench step ups. I think I don't see enough runners doing kind of a nice controlled step up motion. And it's a great one because it encourages you to be able to have some good hip stability, to be able to drive through that leg, to be able to have some good single leg balance. And it helps working all of the areas around your lower body joints of the calves, of the knees, and of the hips. And I think it's one that can help with a lot of that power. It can help with a lot of that kind of drive going off your legs. If you kind of do a quick pop to get up there, hold your balance, and then a slow kind of drop in order to get back from that step up. Let's see. I did that one as kind of a lower body one. I mean, as well. I mean, some of my favorite exercises for runners. Look, I still give runners like bilateral, or basically like 2-leg exercises, right? Where it's like standard forms of deadlifts, trap bar deadlifts, or like barbell squats, things like that. I still give those to people. But if I had to give more of my favorites, some of the favorites might be something more like those box step ups. They might be like side lunges or archer squats that kind of do the same thing of working this kind of like side to side motion. And one that I've actually been getting into a little more lately is more of like soleus raises. Now, you have 2 parts to your calf muscle. To make it quick, you have the big head of your calf, which is known as your gastrocnemius, and then right below that, that kind of flat part of your calf is known as your soleus. And you have these 2 areas of your muscles, and that second area, you're able to do some kind of different ways to lean in order to kind of get some like calf raises that work on that lower part of your calf. That is super important for runners because it helps with a lot of things around the Achilles tendon and around the ankle, where sometimes runners tend to get injured. So I think that is a great one for that as well. But those are the kind of quick ones right off. I'm looking through my list here just to see. I've gone over a few of these. I think the last one, I'm just going to spin it here, but I think the last one I need to do is 7. Come on, show me a 7. Show me a 7. Oh, crap. Life advice. Okay, let's see. No one is going to do it for you. You might be looking for someone to come in and save the day and do the things for you that you want. You want people to make the money for you. You want people to work out for you. You want people to plan all your food for you and cook for you and give you all the answers to everything. The only way that something's going to happen is if you do it yourself. And this isn't talking about anything spiritually or anything like that. This is talking about what you can physically do right now with what you have. You are needing to get something done. It's not about waiting around for someone or the right situation to happen. It's about doing your best with what you have in the moment and just going for it that way. Stop overthinking it and go for it. Was that good enough? Was that random life advice? Perfect. Anyways, last question. Coach Zoe, I am starting to work on setting some new goals and working out. That's great. Congrats. What are the best things that I should know when working out or setting a goal? Okay, good. This is a perfect kind of ender one. What I would say to you, random stranger, is that you should work on being consistent. The more consistent that you can be, the better that these things will go overall. Because even on some of those days where you feel like, oh man, everything's going wrong, or I've really fallen off from the progress that I've been making, you got to remember that progress doesn't do this nice angled line from going to where you are now to where you want to be. It's not this nice upward angle. It goes around and flies around all different ways. And it's important to remember that on those days, whether good or bad, that you were just staying consistent and you were giving your best for that day, whatever the case may be. If you go and, perfect example, I had 8 miles to do yesterday. I had some things that came up yesterday, a lot of things that I'm working on, and when I got to that point of the day, I wasn't having it. I just wanted to lay on the couch. I wanted to sleep the rest of the day away, and I didn't want to do anything more with that day. But I didn't get all 8 miles, but I did go out and get a few miles. And that was still doing some progress towards my overall running goals. It's not going to matter about the big workouts, or like those big days are great. Those big days are amazing when you see yourself reaching these different levels, working up to your goal. Those days are awesome. But the best thing is being able to be consistent and kind of work your way slowly but surely up, learning as you go. If you do something wrong, that's okay. Messing up is part of that process. Just about working through and building your way up and eventually getting there to where you want. And the great thing is when you go through that trial and error to get up to your goal, you can look back and you can see the progress that you've made and how you've overcome different challenges in order to get to the point that you are right now. You will never be completely ready to start going for your goal, but as long as you start, you might mess up along the way. That's okay. The important thing is just to start, try some things. If they don't work, that's totally fine. Just keep going, stay consistent, and when you get there, it'll be worth it. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you guys tuning in to me today. If you have any questions that you want to send me for next month's Q&A wrap-up, you can always send them to me on my social media. That's at @FOSS_movement, or to my website. There's a little message box at the bottom, which is www.fossmovement.com. Otherwise, my friends, take chances, make mistakes, and remember to ask questions, because that's the way that you learn and grow throughout this world. Talk to you soon.